Good morning, my name's Lorene. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. Today's offering comes from the books that I read with my Woozles book club. I think I've mentioned before that Woozles is a store for children, a bookstore for children, and they have a book club for adults who like to read young adult books. So the month that the book that we're doing this month is Wilder Girls by Rory Powers. And there's a reason for that big yellow blob. Rory Powers is a first-time author. This is her first published novel, and she is, oh my gosh, there goes the clock. I don't time these things very well, do I? But it's not a robin because the battery in the clock died, so now the birds are off alignment. It's telling us it's 11 o'clock, but that's really the 3 o'clock bird. So it's 3 o'clock bird at 11 o'clock. Confusing or what? So published in 2019 by Delacorte Press. I understand from one of my book club members that this has been all over the internet. And I really didn't pick up on those reviews. I guess the people that I watch just haven't picked up this book, so don't really know what that gang is thinking about it. Not sure whether people loved it or not on the internet, so I'm going to just tell you what our book club thought, and it was chaotic. The group had almost every chapter got ripped apart for some kind of something, whether it was the disease that was being explored and what was the science behind that, or the relationship between the three main protagonists and what was wrong with that, and the setting and the reason that the girls were at the boarding school. So I haven't told you the plot at all. You have no idea why I just said that. So what's the plot? The plot is basically a boarding school on an isolated island off the coast of Maine. The toxic something or other has infiltrated all the humans that are on the island, so they're under quarantine. And it seems like the Navy, I never did quite pick up which part of the military had come in to sort of save the day, as it were, except that they're not really saving the day. They are using the students of the boarding school to try and figure out what is this disease, what are the potential cures, what are the transmission systems, how fatal is it, or can it be, can one return to full health, or does one have to live with the consequences of the disease, which are horrific. So this is a mutating kind of situation. Well, I don't want to give it all away just in case you like this kind of books. So you have to read that part yourself. And we really gave high marks for the mutations. The mutations were creative and substantial. So it wasn't like you got two earlobes or something. You ended up with something pretty particular. So I'll go back to why I'll show you guys the cover. Everybody in the group thought the cover was lovely. It made me barf. I don't know what it was. I mean, it's a beautiful girl, but the way her face is being sliced I didn't like that part. It's sort of like DNA unraveling in a sense. I could see that. But no, I didn't like the clean cuts on the girl's face. That bothered me. So when I see a cover that I don't like, I do censor it. I know censorship is wrong, but I have to live with that image for the duration of the book. And so I usually take something a lot prettier than this and put it over top of the book. And I recognize that the book designers should get credit. They've done such a good job of making a scary cover that it's successful, just too successful for me. So I myself would give this maybe a 2-star. I felt that the plot was incohesive. I felt that as I approached the ending, I just really started to dread the ending. I thought, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Oh my God, she did that. And I just became madder and madder at the three. Well, one of the protagonists ends up in hospital and she's pretty inert at this point, and they're rescuing her. So the two remaining protagonists that are up and running, I just felt that their approach to survival was super unfortunate. And what else didn't I like about it? I didn't like the lack of science behind it. I didn't like the world building. It felt incomplete. There were just a lot of questions, and it's not a mystery. There's no reason for things to be hidden from us. I felt that, I'm trying to think now who the author is. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to have to just come back with that fact. But there's a book out there where people are harvested for their body parts, and so that the rich and famous can get a new heart, get a new kidney or something. And these people are essentially a crop. And well, weird as that is, the book was well built, really told the story well, and it made sense in terms of the world that was built around it. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We don't really know why the girls are on that island in those in that boarding school in the first place. Why is the boarding school so isolated? What is the connection to the military? So it just leaves more questions than it does answers. The consensus was that it was a page turner, regardless as to what one thought of the content. We just couldn't leave it alone. Just couldn't leave it alone. It was a bit like watching a crazy movie where you're just thinking, how's that gonna go? And so that's what we all did. Everybody loved it, and then hated it. So it was interesting. And there's a bear in the story that I thought was fabulous. I thought the bear was just really, really great, but super evil, super creepy. And I thought if the world had been a bit more like that, I think that would have helped. Anyhow, we all decided we didn't really want a sequel. Don't know what Rory Powers is planning to do. I think there's another book on the way, but so far no information has been released about the content. So I hope she doesn't do a sequel. Anyhow, she's a good writer in the sense that her setting was well described, and her characters, their physical parts were really well described. The toxic, well, we're not really sure if it's a disease or a mutation, or so we're not. They call it the tox. The tox was super well described. So, and to some degree, the anxiety around the girls. But I kept thinking, why aren't they more, curled up in fetal positions with the shock of what's happening to them? But they were all just kind of braiding each other's hair. That part was a bit weird too. So it's kind of an incoherent review on an incoherent book. I don't know what internet is rating it at, or Goodreads, but I'm going with a 2. And if you like gore, this is a good book. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.